Hello, welcome to another Becoming Modern Man. We are playing NeoBrand, or Allosaurus Evolution, and this time we are running up against a very sweet brew from Conley Woods. Obviously we're not playing Conley Woods, unfortunately, but yeah, it's a really cool deck that is something I'm also considering to do an article on. Basically it's based on Narset, Parter of the Vales, and it uses draw prevention, I guess, as a sort of kill, sort of, well, it's like a lock, I guess, with Days Undoing and various other cards, and forces the opponents basically down to no cards, or very little interaction. So yeah, it's a very cool deck that I'm sure I'll link to in my article, and you can check that out. But this is our opening hand, so it's a little risky because we have no cards in hand, but it is also a turn 1 combo kill, potentially. So I figure, why not go for it? Unfortunately, I think we're on the draw. But most of 6, we're going to reveal Chancellor of the Tangle, which is going to help us have the mana. Our opponent plays Island. Your Gemstone Mine. We don't actually have to go for the combo kill here, but I thought, why not test it out, give it a go? We could, and it's probably not, well, it's not necessarily going to get any better of position for us. When it just plays a land and passes back to us and is running counter magic, then we're going to be in pretty bad position. And then additionally, we might not draw a land ourselves, which would make things bad for us, and actually we'd be in worse position because we can't cast Neoform. So I'm going to Summoner's Pact, get Allosaurus Rider, exile a couple of cards, keep Summoner's Pact. I could have kept Manamorphose instead. I don't think it makes any difference necessarily. Neoform, our opponent hasn't revealed any sort of counter magic, so we are going to get our 8/8 Grizzlebrand on. So we draw 7 here. Draw 7 again. And then unfortunately our opponent has Vapor Snag, and we didn't gain any of our life gain cards. So yeah, it ends pretty badly for us. So I concede here because I actually don't think that we can win from here. We're going to have to discard all our cards down. We have both our Grizzlebrands in hand, so we can't actually combo back into having a Grizzlebrand, and we don't have any life gain either, so we're just done, basically. And I'm fairly sure we cast the Summoner's Pact to get this combo kill going, so yeah, we would lose to the Summoner's Pact anyway. So yeah, unfortunately we went for it and lost out to that turn 1 Vapor Snag. If our opponent didn't have Vapor Snag, I mean, this draw was not very good. Did we even find a Nourishing Shoal here? No, we didn't find the shoal. So I suppose we might have fizzled anyway. In this situation, we can summon this pack for all sorts of things, but we can't actually find a Nourishing Shoal. So yeah, I guess that's the risk of trying the turn 1 combo kill. Unfortunately, we didn't draw the right cards, and that kind of screwed us over even more so than the Vapor Snag did, unfortunately. And that, well, I mean, the Vapor Snag was pretty bad because otherwise we would have still had an 8/8 Grizzlebrand on turn 1. If everyone couldn't interact with that, then we would have been able to just attack with Grizzlebrand, and that would have wrapped up the game fairly nicely. But had the answer for that, and yeah, we fizzled out, unfortunately, which is pretty devastating. Okay, so here we are with the sideboard. Obviously we are playing Mystery Blue deck, so we don't really know what's going on, but given that we have seen Vapor Snag, and we can suspect that our opponent might have some sort of counter magic, I'm happy to bring in some number of Pact of Negations to act as counters, and I think that's all we can really do. Okay, so here we are, game 2. thing to play first. This opening hand isn't much good. Oh yeah, this is still the list with Dissenter's Deliverance in. As I mentioned in my last video, if you haven't watched it, I have kind of been tweaking this deck as I've been going along. So the list you saw earlier is the sort of current version. This version has Dissenter's Deliverance in it as sort of a hate card, a pre-board hate card, but I've decided to cut it just because it's unlikely you're going to come up against a sort of main deck hate card like Leyland of Sanctity or Grafdigger's Cage. So I've cut that out since, but it's still a decent option for us, and it does cycle, so I don't dislike it, but I think it makes more sense to run other cards in that situation. So our Psych 7 wasn't any good, our 6 isn't much better. I mean, we do have Neoform, but it's a bit of a risk given we have no way to draw any deeper into our deck running with this. So I ended up mulling to 5. I don't know if that was the right thing to do. Maybe we should have stuck with the other hand and just hoped for the best. But this is nicer. We've got the Allosaurus Rider, we've got the Eldritch Evolution, and we can even cast the Rider with this current hand. We don't need to find any more green cards, so we just need to find lands. Summoner's Pact is on top. I think we're going to bottom that and just look for lands. Some plays Watery Grave. We draw Chancellor, unfortunately. Not a land. Draw Pact. And this might just be game over anyway. As I say, this deck runs Narset, part of the Veils, which is a new card from War of the Spark. Prevents their opponents from drawing more than one card a turn, and also is able to find a non-creature, non-land spells from the top, looking at the top 4. So digs our opponent a bit deeper, which kind of is... well, it kind of ruins our deck, basically, because we're looking to Gristlebrand to draw loads of cards, and Narset, just by being on the board, prevents us from doing that, which, yeah, puts us in a very bad spot. We can't draw any more cards with even Manamorphose or anything. But we decided to play it out, just so you can see what's going on, but yeah, this matchup's really bad, in case you didn't realise we were Manamorphosing here, but opponent's got Spell Snare, so we can't even use that. I don't know if we did that during our own turn, because we definitely needed to do it during their turn for it to have been effective, but either way our opponent had a counter for it. We're not drawing particularly well, but I don't really want to cast this Allosaurus Rider into counter magic, or just bounce, which isn't also something they have. Notion Thief comes down, which makes our situation even worse, and there isn't really much of a chance of us winning this game, but just playing it out to see how it goes. Decided to try and cast the Allosaurus Rider, but it has Snapback. Sorry, I kind of skipped past that. So Snapback, which just bounces back to hand, but you can cast it with no mana, which obviously is pretty bad with Allosaurus Rider in particular, because we had to exile 2 cards to get it into play to begin with. Opponent attacks for 3, Vendilion Click comes down. So opponent actually gets to draw a card off the Vendilion Click thanks to Notion Thief. Yeah. And yeah, if we just wrap things up there, because we're dead in the next couple of turns and we don't actually have an out to this. So yeah, this matchup's really rough. So all you can really do is hope to avoid running into it for the most part. Basically, it's perfectly set up against us. And I suppose if our deck was really good in the format, then this would be a very good counter deck to it. But unfortunately, it's not really a very good deck unless the London Mulligan becomes an official thing, in which case I think there will be some bans that would come along with that, potentially. But yeah, a very good counter deck to this deck, and makes our life very difficult. It's also a super cool deck just in general, and a very sweet brew from Conley Woods, which hopefully I'll get a chance to talk about a bit more in some upcoming articles and potentially videos.